I'm Katie LeGrone. We discover a Florida law that temporarily stops people from owning or possessing a gun is being used on children as young as 8 years old.
Some so young they can't legally drive to their court hearing, while others, court records show, are barely old enough to sign their name.
Children as young as 8 years old. 8 years old.
If you're old enough to threaten to kill somebody, you're old enough to go to court and you're old enough to be held accountable.
They're red flagging children. You heard that correctly. Gun-grabbing politicians and states across America are now using red flag gun confiscation laws to red flag children. And this isn't just a flaw. This was intentional. This is part of the way that these red flag laws are designed. A story just broke in Florida that an 8 and 9-year-old were red flagged. And this doesn't just mean that the children lost their gun rights, as odd as that sounds, but everyone in the household. What these are essentially becoming are household red flags. That happened in Florida. It's happened in Michigan. It's happened in Massachusetts. It's going to keep happening everywhere where states have these red flag laws on the books. Before I get into today's video, I want to remind you that we are at a turning point for our rights, and you have the chance to help us. You can do that by clicking the link in the description and signing our petition urging Attorney General Pam Bondi to step up against every state-level infraction against our rights, including red flag. And if you're watching this video from Michigan, I highly encourage you to check out Great Lakes Gun Rights, become a member, sign their petition to repeal red flag law gun confiscation there. The link for that is also in the description. Let's have a quick refresher on what exactly red flag laws are. Democrats claim it's an important safeguard to curbing gun violence, but in reality, it's just another power given to the state to control gun owners. These laws allow lawfully owned firearms to be confiscated by law enforcement on a mere whim or accusation without due process, without a crime ever having been committed. It turns the American legal system on its head, forcing you to prove your innocence before a court, and you are guilty until a judge has said that you are now safe to have your firearms. I'm not exaggerating when I say that this meticulously crafted law infected state legislatures everywhere. All the expected states followed through and passed it, but Florida, Indiana, in fact, Indiana was one of the first states to have a red flag law on the books as early as 2005. It was absurd how much we had to fight these laws even in red states. In fact, in Florida, there were 67 NRA A-rated Republicans who voted for red flag gun confiscation, and it was signed by a Republican governor. Now in Michigan, lawmakers claim that the proposal they passed was triggered by a shooting on the campus of Michigan State University. But this is a total grift. The perpetrator of this horrific event was a 43-year-old man, not a 6-year-old child. Like with every shooting, this tragedy was an opportunity for the Democrats to stuff any unrelated regulation into one bill and guilt-trip their way past any dismissers. So what does this law exactly say? How could this have led to the extreme risk protection order of a 6-year-old? How could they possibly hide such an outlandish provision? Well, they didn't. It was just scrambled into legalese, plainly written. Any of the following is a proper county in which to file an action under this section if the respondent is a minor, either the petitioner's or respondent's county of residence. That's it. Just one little line ground up and hidden into a confusing word salad about other matters. That takes us to the article in question. According to this article, there have been multiple instances of children being red flagged. The most egregious occurred after a 6-year-old mentioned that they have access to a firearm during a mental health crisis. Now, I'm sure everyone would agree that such comment is concerning, and the parent should be notified. But rather than giving the family a heads up and trying to get to the bottom of this, an anonymous report was filed and the house was searched. According to the town's chief deputy, proper precautions were already taken by the parents and all firearms were removed from the home days prior to the red flag. An identical situation occurred with a 10-year-old, where once again the police found no evidence that the child had any access to firearms. Of course, the writers of these red flag laws knew situations like these would play out. One of the bill co-sponsors, Senator Mallory McMorrow, had this to say when asked about the clause including minors. Quote, "That aspect, particularly related to juveniles, was something we were very intentional about and set Michigan's law apart from other states." Despite being a fairly new law, only passing back in 2023, Michiganders spoke loud and clear this past election when they threw Democrats out of complete control in the Michigan legislature. With this opportunity, our affiliate organization, Great Lakes Gun Rights, is trying to once again make red flag laws nothing more than a concept. Just earlier this year, State Representative Jim DeSanta introduced a bill package to do just that. His 3-bill package would completely repeal red flag gun confiscation in Michigan. Now, a question I get asked quite often is why bother with filing a bill to repeal red flag if there's no chance of it becoming law? After all, Gretchen Whitmer is still governor of Michigan. The Democrats still control the Michigan Senate. Where's it going to go? Too often, I hear from gun owners that we just should file a lawsuit, that we should just work our way through the courts, and that we can just rely on the courts to strike down Michigan's red flag gun confiscation law or California's assault weapons ban, or you name it. But the fact is the Bruin decision was handed down back in 2022, and we still haven't seen the fruit from that. And the fact is that we just saw an election cycle in 2024 where Republicans won back control of the Michigan House of Representatives. We're just less than 2 years from the next election already in 2026, where Republicans have an opportunity and gun owners have the opportunity to lobby Republicans and Democrats alike to force them to support our gun rights. So we work on filing bills to repeal gun confiscation and assault weapons bans in states where even it's not even going to become law this year. But we do that to put politicians on notice, to let them know that all because they passed the law 2 years ago, we're not just going to go away with our tails tucked between our legs. We're going to keep fighting, and we're going to work on pushing this bill through the Michigan House of Representatives. And in any other state, even if the Democrats are still in control, we don't take a break. We don't stop. You keep fighting regardless, because if you stop fighting for one moment, they will take more of your rights. We've seen this in states like Colorado that just passed an egregious gun control bill. And yet gun owners were continuing to fight there and managed to derail some final last-minute gun control measures that they were even trying to pass there. The fact is, if they try to take an inch, if you don't fight them for that inch, they will take a mile. And you have to make every inch that they try to take as painful politically as possible. Now, what we're hoping is that we'll see some action from the federal government. With President Trump moving forward with Attorney General Pam Bondi, we're hoping that we're going to see a new vigor from the federal government to rein in out-of-control anti-gun states. And that's where you can help us. So go ahead and click the previously mentioned link in the description below to sign that petition, and consider joining our newsletter so you can stay informed on more 2A fights. Thank you for watching.